Hello and welcome back to Tech Stuff. Sorry I've been out of it for a little bit, been a little under the weather. We're going to go ahead and start off with a little bit more Vega. And once we get done with that, we're going to go into Threadripper, Ryzen Pro, and how the CPU market's actually going as far as business goes. Okay, to start it off, Vega, man, that has just been a mess. It's not AMD's fault that these cards are being priced the way that they're being priced. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to play devil's advocate. AMD can only ask that so many of a product be produced. And the reason why I say ask is they don't own any of the ability to produce the product on their own. They have to work off the schedules of the manufacturers. So AMD asks that people, such as GlobalFoundries, produces so many of these chips. Well, AMD has to ask Samsung at this point, for so much of this HBM2 memory. AMD has to ask someone to put the chip and the memory into the package. AMD has to ask someone to put that package onto the board. And AMD has to ask someone to go ahead and machine out and create that really crappy cooler. It may look nice, but it's a pile of junk. Well, this is what business is. Business is asking. And the reason why business is asking is because if you tell another business what to do, it doesn't matter if you're paying them or not, they're going to find a way to screw you. And this is the real life. This is how business works. You cannot tell a business what to do. Not even if you're employing them. You can't. They will turn around and find a way to screw you. Well, at this point in time, everything that AMD's asking for, there's just not enough of it to go around. This includes the manufacturing space for the HBM2, the manufacturing capacity, the manufacturing space and capacity for their GPUs or at GlobalFoundries. You know, this is what it is. AMD must ask for all of this. And that's why they've come out and said, we're working with our partners to try to replenish stock as quickly as we can. Because all they can do is ask for more time. These companies have other people paying them too. That's one of the bad things about not having your own foundries, not being able to build your own products is you're competing for space. Yes, if you want to pay extra money, you can probably get some extra time because they're going to have to push another project. But they don't want to hurt all of their other customers to help you, and they shouldn't have to. And this is what it comes down to, is you cannot expect GlobalFoundries to shut off a different project just to give AMD more time. AMD knows this, and there's nothing much they can do about it. What this leaves us with is AMD is doing their best. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I really am. AMD is doing their best to get out as many of these chips as possible, these Vega GPUs, as possible, to their board partners who are going to be bringing out custom designs. Now, how many of those board partners right now are pushing back or holding on to these chips for custom designs rather than making reference design cards? I couldn't tell you. I don't know how many of them are, instead of producing the most that they can at this moment, not holding some of those back and going, well, we're gonna keep these in stock so that we make sure we have a good launch for our version of this product. And if you think that doesn't happen, you don't know a whole lot about business. Anytime a company needs something for its product, and it's going to delegate its product to the head of its list to get the best parts, to get the best product it can possibly do that's going to line its wallet best. There's a good chance that quite a few companies have been binning 64s and 56s. And it would not surprise me if we find out it happened with the RX 580, but that's just binning. That's what it is. And they had a bin for a while to get the GPUs to make those 580s. Well, I'm not saying that it's happening right now, but there's a good chance that that is happening, that some of these companies are binning and basically releasing everything that passes, it's more than good enough, as reference designs, and then the chips or GPUs that are better, the ones that go above and beyond a certain set of standards, they're pushing those off to the side, saying we're going to hold on to those for a minute because we're going to come out with a special higher end Vega card when the time comes and we know we have everything worked out, and we need this for our card. So we're going to put these to the side. Well, that creates market issues. Well, then you also have things like the cryptocurrency. And it turns out Vega, it's actually a really good miner. Yeah, AMD really kind of shot themselves in the foot by saying we're not building this card for miners. Because in a way, they were not building it for miners. Everybody knows by now Vega is a compute card. It really is. It's faster than pretty much everything else out there. Well, that's what makes it interesting to professionals and to people who do video and to people who do AutoCAD and things of this nature is the compute level performance. That's what drives those markets. Compute doesn't do the same thing for gaming, but AMD can't afford to make a bunch of different designs of the Vega architecture, so there's a lot of compute left in 56 and 64. They didn't turn it all off, and they don't turn it all off. Well, that unfortunately for some, fortunately for others, does make it an awesome mining card. And with some of the stories that are coming out over the internet right now about power savings abilities and being able to get a Vega 64 hashing close to say 40 or 43 on Ethereum, that is putting it in a sweet spot that is above even the 570s and the 580s and the 470s and the 480s. I mean, that is actually putting it in a spot where the card can literally pay for itself. And as long as it's in a spot like that, lower prices are never going to come. They will continue to be bought out. Now that brings me up to the other topic when it comes to Vega. AMD can't, we've discussed already, AMD can't just make more. AMD can't just make more Polaris. They can't make more 580s and 570s because the drive in the market is up high at this moment. They have to determine through calculation, and they got this wrong before, but they have to determine through calculation, how many of these cards can we sell? And where's the risk point that the market's just going to flood with all these things coming back onto the market? Where's that point where we have to go, wait a minute, we have put too much of a product out there. We're going to get stuck holding all these inventories and lose boatloads of cash. Well, that is an honest issue. That is an issue that has plagued AMD before, and they got it wrong. There are other videos on that if you need to understand, and it was a different cryptocurrency boom. In order for AMD to make money, they have to sell a certain number of cards at a certain price. Their board partners tack on their fees, and they up it a little bit and sell it for a little bit more at a slightly higher price. And all this is supposed to happen under the MSRP or suggested e-tail price, SAP, or whatever. And then your final vendors, your stores, they jack up the price to whatever the hell they want to sell it at. They can jack it up as high as they want. And this is kind of where AMD is stuck at the moment. They can keep telling these vendors, hey, look, this is the price we wanted it to be at. As they finally come out and said, no, this is the price we wanted it to be at. We understand there's skinny margins, but this is the price. They can keep saying it all day long. It doesn't change a thing. The only thing it does is make people who do not understand how business works and how this whole situation works, it makes them upset because they think they're being screwed. Honestly, if there were more gamers out there, we would be in a worse spot than we're in now. Because what used to be a market for gamers, PC enthusiasts and elitists used to be gamers. That has changed. And now gamers are a very small portion of the actual PC market. Most of your market are actually people like me, people like other YouTubers, people who do a little bit of video editing, do a little bit of photography editing, people who create things, whether it's 3D space or models or whatever. And those are the people who drive the PC market, and the people who use them for work. Those people drive the PC market. Gamers, not so much. And I'm sorry for you if you are a hardcore gamer, because it's never going to be like that again. And that's something hard to wrap your head around. Companies are going to pander to you a little bit, but you're pretty much done at that point. Intel could care less. I mean, they've shown that in the whole Coffee Lake fiasco. They don't care. They just got done selling you 2 motherboards and 2 processors in less than 2 years, and they're coming out with a 3rd motherboard, and a third processor, all within about the same 2 years. Great. The only thing they're caring about is their wallet, which is finally getting hit. And it's getting hit hard. And the reason why their wallet is getting hit hard is because AMD, now I don't know how true it is or not, they said Ryzen is the worst possible scenario of what they could have gotten from where they started with the design. Now I'm apt to believe that they're correct. Ryzen is not a very good overclocker. It seems like the Silicon kind of has the same limits all the way around. You pay for binning. The 1800X is definitely a pay for binning kind of thing, but it's an impressive set of processors. And now they have the Ryzen Pro series of processors based on regular Ryzen. Those seem to be a pretty impressive set of processors too. And you have Threadripper, which I'm going to admit is a very impressive 3 processors. Let's go back to that for a second. AMD doesn't really care about you if you're a gamer either. I'm going to throw that out there. AMD cares about having the right part in the right price across the entire market. And they have that right now. The only place that they're lacking in is business. And I have been watching and hoping to see more AMD business computers come up. And it is just not happening. I am not seeing anything from Dell. I am not seeing HP. I am not seeing anything coming around, even with the new AMD Pro processors, that would make me believe that AMD is going to get a foothold into the business market segment. That's the market AMD is missing. I was hoping to see them in it by now, and it just seems like the OEMs are not giving a shit. And that's why I'm really hoping for the good Coffee Lake release, well, at least their 3 main processor release, because I think the 6-core parts are going to be great for business. And I think that they'll get adopted a hell of a lot quicker than it's showing that AMD's getting anything adopted in that business segment. As far as the segment of enthusiasts, AMD's got it won. I mean, retail numbers from everywhere show AMD's product stack outselling Intel's product stack now. And I have to believe them that they are, at this moment, outselling Intel's product stack, because their AMD stack makes more sense and covers a greater variety of people for a lot less money, while still being able to turn a good profit. Intel, not so much. Well, that will do it for this video. If you like what I do, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, well, then you know what to do. I will try to get back on track with 1 video, if not 2 per week. I have been out with an illness here recently, but I think I'm getting over that now, and we'll see where things go from here.